Now we will discuss types of figurative language. Indirect speech acts and metaphor. They are basically part of metaphorical use of figurative language. Many words and phrases have both literal as well as figurative meanings. By literal we mean explicit or dictionary-based meaning, and by figurative we refer to the metaphorical use of figure of speech in order to convey the intended meaning. Due to increase in the use of figurative language in the text, it is very important for learners or students to know in order to overcome the problem of comprehension. Indirect speech acts refers to indirect relationship between the form and the function of the utterance. The speaker does not explicitly state the intended meaning behind the utterance. So, indirect speech is where the direct performing of action or meaning is not expressed. Metaphor describes an object of or action in a way that isn't literally true. So, again, it describes an object or any action which is not literally or explicitly true, but helps explain the idea or make comparison. So metaphor and indirect speech act, as you can see, they do not refer to the explicit meaning or expression of explicit meaning. So indirect speech act can best be understood with the help of locutionary act and perlocutionary act. You have this example which is basically part of perlocutionary act, but before that we will see what we mean by locutionary act. Locution is the physical act of speaking. The speaker composes a sentence in a specific context. When we use phrases such as I promise, I apologize, or I congratulate, the very act of uttering the sentence is a kind of action. Now, these are quite different than utterances in which assertions are made. So, actions and assertions. Look at this example. I congratulate you on your reward, and then you will have another under the perlocutionary effect. But if we look at this example, and it makes sense for someone to say, no, that is not true, to an assertion such as it is going to rain, or it is going to be cold today. So if we use something like no, that's not true, this can be a response to this statement, but we cannot have the similar response, no, that's not true, to an assertion. Now this is action, but this is the assertion. I congratulate you on your reward. Now coming to the perlocutionary effect, that is the effect which is there on the utterance or of the utterance, effect on I may apologize but you may not accept my apology. So this is again different from a locutionary act, and this perlocutionary act is referred to basically the action and not the assertion. Then you also have illocutionary. When we are talking about illocutionary, that is when making an utterance, speaker has an intentions behind it. For example, statement about the world, or apologizing, or explaining something. So, a locutionary act, as I said, is where you are referring to apologizing and you say, I may apologize, or please accept my apology, or you may not accept my apology. So, these are the actions which refer to a locutionary act. Coming to metaphor, but before that we will look at the perlocutionary act, such as can you shut the door, or will you shut the door, or it is getting cold. So these are the sentences where indirectly you are asking some actions to be performed. An indirect request can be made in several common ways. One is to question the ability of a person who is asked to perform the action, as in sentence this, can you shut the door, or will you shut the door? So these are the indirect requests. Now coming to metaphor, metaphor consists of three parts: tenor, vehicle, and ground. Metaphor is when someone says, Jim's head is full of rocks, we instantly recognize that it is metaphoric statement. It is not to be taken in its literal or explicit context. Consider this example. Billboard are warts. Warts is something to do with ugly virus or disease. So billboards are warts on the landscape. Now the tenor is basically the topic. So tenor of this example is billboard. The vehicle over here is what represents the tenor, what represents the topic. So here, what is representing is the wart. Warts are representing billboards. And the ground of the metaphor is the implied similarity between tenor and the vehicle. So tenor, in order to have the inference of tenor and vehicle, we understand the ground. Question is, why do we use or choose to use a metaphor rather than literal statement to express? Ortoni suggested that metaphors are often used to communicate continuous experiential information, especially information that is otherwise difficult or impossible to express. So to conclude, the different types of figurative language enables us to communicate a wider range of meanings than would be possible if we were limited to only literal meanings. Metaphors are primarily used to convey ideas and feelings that are difficult to express, and indirect speech acts are often implied to state a request, sometimes in a polite manner.